Stop writing on the bullets, folks. You know, this shooting with the ice thing. I don't know. Somebody wrote on that bullet. I don't even know if that's a real thing. What's going on with this? Before I get out of here, you anti-ice. I don't know. That just doesn't feel real. What's going on with this Tyler Robinson? What do we think? What do we think's going on here? I don't know.
So, guys, I'm playing for this. A lot of people don't get to the end of podcasts and stuff like that, but he makes a really very important point here, and I want to kind of dissect it a little bit. Take a look. This is Tim Dillon. Great show. Always a great show. Always a great listen. I watch him every week. Take a listen to what he says here, and then we'll talk about it.
I don't know what's happening here. Is this an organized thing? Is something else happening? Is it Trantifa? I don't even know what that is, but it's my favorite word. I'm going as Halloween is Trantifa. But Candace says she's got big stuff going. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what she's uncovered. I'm not doing the investigating. What the hell do I know? Rogan made a point about the gun. Maybe so. I'm not a marksman. I don't know these things. What I am saying is that what I do know is geopolitics, culture. I know a fair amount about the way these things have happened other places. I'm not an expert in the forensics or in the bullet and this and that. I don't know anything about that, and I'll never pretend to. What I do know is the way these things have been done other places, other countries, including our own. You can recognize disinformation. You've read enough books and you've seen enough stuff. You can start seeing the zone, flood the zone with disinfo and weird info, and nobody quite knows easily disprovable stuff. You know, after 9/11, it was like, there are no buildings, there was a hologram, and you're like, what? There were no planes, there were holograms. You start going, well, no one thinks that. Who are you? Who are you working for? Why are you saying that? Everybody else is making real points and wondering about certain...
But then what happens, right, is those radical, insane points, they get legs, right? They get legs, people start listening, people start following, people start disseminating it, and then essentially, like, I don't want to say like you kill, your mojo or your movement, but you severely hurt your credibility. You just have to take all the ideas that are coming out about the Charlie Kirk shooting and kind of boil it down. And you have this video that got millions of views saying he was shot from the back. Now you're hearing that he was shot from the side with a phone wallet gun. Then it was the microphone that exploded. Then it's just all of these things. You just have to stop and think for a while and just shut up, basically. But people aren't going to do that because it is generating a massive amount of attention, massive amount of clicks. People are being seen. So break them down. Break them down individually. Take the mic theory, the exploding mic theory. If you were that sophisticated that you could take a microphone, put a charge in there, have it detonate, and then make it seem like it was a gunshot. So now, because obviously that would be the point, right? The point wouldn't be just to put an exploding mic on him, and then it's going to be this sophisticated, mic bomb thing that they have to track down and figure out where the hell it came from. I'm guessing the point of that was you're going to have a shooter that's a patsy, and it's actually going to be the mic because you don't think the shooter can do it, or for whatever reason. If you already have a shooter that's a patsy, why not just let him shoot him? I don't know. That's the problem. Is that it's too complicated and stupid. If you were that sophisticated that you could make a microphone bomb go off at will, why would you do it in front of thousands and thousands of people while it's being recorded in high def? And that could potentially ruin your plan. Why would you have a patsy that gets caught who presumably now didn't actually make a shot? And he would be like, yeah, I was there. I was going to shoot him, but I didn't shoot him, or what? Shooting it from the back. Why would you do that? If you're such a sophisticated operation that you have a patsy lined up for a shot, why would you then shoot him from another angle where obviously that would be disproven that it wasn't that guy back there because he got shot from another angle? If you were so sophisticated, you would have a patsy, and then you would have your sniper directly behind your patsy, and they would shoot over him. Right? Why? If you're this sophisticated, but you can't figure out angles, You can't figure out a scenario where, you know what, if we shoot him in a completely different orientation than the guy we're trying to frame for it, maybe someone's going to figure this out. And so now then you're leading me down the rabbit hole saying, okay, so all of these things happen. He got shot from the rear. He got shot by a mic. He got shot from the side. And then all of his friends and family that were in the car, like holding his neck and trying to bring him back to life. Now they're all in on it. And they got to knock on the door saying, yeah, listen, we know what you saw, but you didn't see nothing like that. This is what you're trying to get me to believe. This is where we're going. Again, I'm not going to get into specifics. I've done a lot of investigations in my life. And when information comes out, everybody always thinks there's a conspiracy. No matter how big, no matter how small the investigation is. No matter how tiny the investigation is, everybody thinks that there's a conspiracy. It's just a normal reaction. It's just when you do these things, you just understand that's the way people are. That's our being. We just like thinking that this doesn't look right or that doesn't look right or whatever. I tell you right now, all of the information that you're seeing, everything, all the video that you're seeing is not evidence. It's not evidence grade. You have no idea what it is, which is why when video is brought into a courtroom, it has to be verified. It has to be authenticated. The person that got the video, that extracted it from the actual device, has to be sitting there and has to say, yes, this is what I saw. The timestamp is this. Here is the exact video that I personally extracted and got from the physical device. What you're seeing is stuff that was disseminated for media purposes. What you're seeing is stuff that was put out by another person, a third party, and will never be verified. Maybe in trial, it will be something similar, but I'm telling you right now, the aspect ratio, frames per second, the distance, was it zoomed in? How was all that? All of that matters in these scenarios. This is not evidence grade stuff that we're all seeing. There's cell phone videos. Maybe some of them are the raw footage, maybe, but they would not pass as evidence. You can't take a YouTube video and pass it off as evidence. You can't take a clip that somebody sends you and pass it off as evidence. You can't. You cannot verify the source. You have to be able to verify the source in order for this to be evidence, put in as evidence. A lot of people don't talk about that because it's not sexy. You can't just start making up theories and start going crazy with things. But that's the truth. When I think about debunking conspiracies, and I don't think in the same context as everybody else. I'm sure some people do, but I just think in a much more very raw, very different type of way. For example, the moon landing. And we're not going to go off on a big tangent. I'm just giving you a small example of where I go. If the moon landing was going to be faked, why would you do it half a dozen times? That's where I go. If I'm going to fake something and we're going to get all these people involved and everybody's going to be doing this, okay, we do it one time, we get the credit for it, let's get the heck out of Dodge and close the thing down, and that's it, we're done. We're done. When you do something that's supposed to be fake half a dozen times, and each time requires any massive amount of people that are involved, and they're intricately like you have the astronauts, you have all the engineers, all the scientists, you have the crew, you have the cleanup crew, you have thousands of people that are involved in every single one. I don't even look at the evidence to me is like physical evidence and stuff like that. That's secondary. When you first come to a scene, you don't go straight to the crime area. You don't go straight to the body. You don't go straight to whatever it is you're investigating. You sit back and you just look around. You take in the scene. What's going on here? What does it look like? Well, you take in the exterior components rather than just what you're being faced with. And that's kind of what I look at. Right? Like I said, the moon landing thing is a perfect example. If you were going to fake it, why would you fake it half a dozen times? With countless people each and every time. I'm not getting into the minutia of rocket tech, right? Because the majority of people that are arguing against us going there, could barely pass geometry, let alone, the rocket scientists, right? Let's be real. Every time somebody sends me a debunk video, it's a 30-second TikTok with an AI voice, and they're showing like a shadow from some fucking, I don't know. Well, it's annoying. But when it comes to the Kirk shooting, it's a similar tactic that I kind of like put forth. All right, if the bullet shot him from the back, why? Why are they shooting from the back and blame a guy in the front? If it's a microphone, why? If they're that sophisticated, that means they could have killed him anywhere at any time. They could have put a car bomb. They could have put an IED on his car and inscribed Antifa on it. And it would have been the exact same thing with no witnesses, and the same people would have been blamed. Right? I mean, if you just logically think about it, why would you go through this insane, crazy thing when you could have killed him in a much more inconspicuous way, still blamed the same people, and had the same result? That's where my mind goes when it comes to these crazy theories. It is making the right look insane. It's not good. Everyone picks it up. I know it gets a lot of views. I get it. Because people like to theorize. And when you're conducting an investigation, that's actually a good thing. I'm not saying what's happening right now isn't necessary. It is necessary. You want to question everything that you're seeing when you're conducting an investigation. But you don't want to get so focused in on something that is unlikely that you missed the thing that's staring you right in the face. You don't want to be distracted by unlikely scenarios and by evidence that is where you're extrapolating things beyond reason. And that's really my point with this. And Tim brings it up well. I don't know if he, let me see if he has anything else on this. It's fun.
Easily answerable questions that can't be answered. And then someone will always come out and say something ridiculous. And that's disinfo. It's called flooding the zone. Now, I don't know what info is good and what isn't. That is the point of these campaigns. I just know that Kash Patel is an idiot. Dan Bongino, I think, is probably a good guy, but he's in over his head. We talked about the FBI, the most corrupt organization in the country. They're one of them. The CIA and the FBI are incredibly corrupt. You will not know what's going on. And the Trump administration is corrupt as well, by the way. I'm not removing the label of corruption from that administration, by the way, which is quite obvious at this point that they're hiding things. But the FBI's behavior in this case is not making anybody feel good.
Yeah, and he's right about a lot of things there. I think these guys probably are a little bit over their heads at this point, and it may not be because they're not intelligent. It's just because when you don't grow up within the apparatus, it's almost like you cannot defeat the swamp unless you're part of it, unless you've been embedded with it, because you don't know how to negotiate it. You don't know what tactics it has against you. You don't know how to battle you can't battle the corruption if you're an outsider coming in. It's a very difficult thing to do. You don't know where the bodies are buried. You don't know where the things are. It's very easy for these. I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands. I think FBI has, maybe a dozen, 12,000, 15,000, 14,000. It's in I think it's over 10,000 agents, employees that are, with field offices across the country. If you're from the outside looking in, Dan Bongino was not an FBI agent. He was a Secret Service agent. Kash Patel, he was a prosecutor. He worked with DOJ and stuff like that. This is a totally different beast. You threw these guys in this pot without having any experience in dealing with that particular scenario. I mean, I think, maybe not having them in a leadership position, but just having them, putting them there and then them being able to go back and forth with Trump, maybe that would have been a better idea. Putting them in a leadership role kind of sets them up for failure, I think. Because you kind of have to been wrangling with the beast for a while to know its weaknesses, to understand it, to just to have a feel for what you need to do. You can get all the information you want. You can get the right people around you. Maybe you're bringing in a team. That's going to take a long time. I mean, you're putting in these guys cold to this scenario. Whereas if they were working there for even somewhat of a period of time, a couple of years, they had a feel. They understand the nature. They understand how things work. They understand the people, the organization. Then they can hit the ground running. I mean, now they're probably just getting their feet wet at this point, and we're 8-9 months in. You can't. It's just one of those things where you have people that are been in the FBI for decades. They know the ins and outs. They understand the minutia, and it's so broad based. Like the things that they're investigating. It has to be tough. It has to be tough. Like I honestly kind of feel bad. But again, the point that he brought up, the flooding the zone, that's what's happening right now to people that are trying to find the truth. It's just people that are trying to find the truth. They're trying to find the answers. And it gets interesting. It's a little bit fun, trying to become a detective and solve cases and things like that. But you have to always ground yourself in reality. And that's a hard thing for people to do because it's important. When people are confronted with something that is, whether it's, their family member committed suicide or, just something tragic that happens to them, very difficult for them to accept evidence that's right in front of their face. Guys, if you're still here, please hit the subscribe button. Small channel trying to grow. It helps me out a lot. Let's finish up here with Tim.
I know very smart people who don't know what's going on. This is no, literally. I get in trouble on the show because I'll tell you, I just got fired from Saudi Arabia. I don't keep my mouth shut. I care deeply about the show being good. And I talk to smart people, and I talk to connected people, and I talk to people that are high up in certain things. And I'm telling you, people don't know. Genuinely. When the drone thing happened, people didn't know. We think they're ours. Remember those drones over those Jersey Bay? We think they're ours. A couple of them could be China. We don't know. Remember that? Is there a ship that's Iranian ship off the coast? People like, that's bullshit. And then somebody said, well, there was actually a ship. The people that I have talked to about this they truly do not know, which is a little scary. You'd want them to know. Some of the people I'm talking to, you'd want to know. You'd want them to go, I 100% know X, or I 100% know Y. But they're not saying that. They're saying, well, I loved Charlie, and I loved his wife, and, I'm being respectful, and I don't know. And I have feelings that are weird. And I have suspicions that are odd. And that's coming from very smart people, very connected people, people that they don't know and are saying we don't know. And it's not the vice president. It's nobody in the administration. I'll say that because I don't want to. I know the news will pick this up and they'll be like, Tim Dillon. Whoa. It's no one in the administration, but it's all right outside of it, baby. It's right outside. So people going, I don't know. I don't know. Scary thing to hear. Weird thing to hear. Weird thing to hear.
And it's a difficult time because personally, once they found who they thought the shooter or believed him to be, it should have been a boilerplate, ongoing investigation. We're trying to get a conviction out of this person. There are other people that are involved. If in fact we find that any of these people, we're going to be looking for them, we will let you know if they're dangerous to the public or whatever. But other than that, you got to shut it down. Why? Because when you release the stupid text messages, and you keep releasing more video after the fact, the only video that the public needed to see was a direct shot of that mug. That was it. That was it. This is the guy we're looking for. Help us find him. Period. After that, that is it. Because now you're working on prosecution. You're not working on the manhunt anymore. You're working on prosecution. You may still be working on a manhunt, off to the side, separately, people that nobody knows about. But when it comes to this particular individual, you shut it down because now you're putting stuff out there in the ether, potentially, contaminating a jury pool. You're not helping the prosecution with these stupid messages and these other videos of whatever, him walking or stuff like that. If the stuff that they released before they caught him, different story. Where you're in an active manhunt now. You're trying to find somebody that's very dangerous. No problem. I'm all for it. After that, you shut it down. Stop the news conferences. Stop all the stuff because nothing is going to satisfy the masses. It is always going to be a conspiracy. You're never going to, until the person sits down at trial and they get it all out, until the autopsy gets released, until actual evidence is put forth to the public. And even then, nobody's going to believe you. So why get into the weeds? Doesn't make sense. It's a couple of unforced errors. Hate to see it, but you know, that's how it goes. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to here. 6283 Talk on the X is the account. I am John Soto. I'll see you again on the next video, guys. Take care.